Welcome to Karen Chaos 2.0, the channel where drama meets karma. If you love wild meltdowns, jaw-dropping confrontations, and instant karma moments that'll leave you speechless, then you're in the right place. Don't just watch the chaos, be part of it. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment to join the madness. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The cafe was quiet, sunlight streaming through the tall windows, the soft clink of cups and chatter blending into a peaceful hum. But that peace shattered the moment Karen slammed her hand on the counter. "I've been waiting here for 20 minutes. This is absolutely unacceptable." Her voice cut through the air, sharp and demanding. Heads turned instantly. The barista, a young woman with tired eyes, tried to keep her composure. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry," she replied gently. "We've had a rush this morning. Your order is almost ready." Almost wasn't good enough for Karen. She rolled her eyes dramatically, glancing around to make sure the room was watching. Oh, of course. Treating paying customers like dirt. Classic. "But I bet if I looked a little different, I'd already have my latte, wouldn't I?" Gasps rippled through the cafe. A mother at a nearby table instinctively pulled her child closer. Karen had done this before, turning an inconvenience into a stage, twisting the story so she looked like the victim. But today felt different. There was a tension in the air, as though the universe itself had grown tired of her performance. A man seated near the window spoke up. His voice was calm but firm. "Excuse me, but I've been here since before you walked in. Everyone's waiting their turn. You're not being singled out." Karen turned on him instantly, her expression shifting into mock hurt. "Oh, so now I'm being attacked for speaking up? You don't know what it's like to be treated unfairly." The man tilted his head, studying her. "Actually, I do. But I also know when someone's just making noise to get their way." The cafe grew silent. For the first time, Karen's theatrics weren't drawing sympathy, only uneasy stares. Still, she pressed on, clutching her purse tightly. "You people don't understand. I'm the victim here." But just as the words left her mouth, the barista set her drink on the counter. "Triple shot caramel latte, extra foam," she announced clearly. Karen lunged forward, triumphant, until the cup slipped from her hand, tumbling in slow motion. The lid popped off, caramel foam splattering across her designer blouse and dripping down the counter. The cafe erupted, not in sympathy but in muffled laughter. Her face turned red, not from embarrassment alone, but from the sudden realization that her audience wasn't buying her act anymore. For once, her role as the victim was cracking, and somewhere deep down, Karen knew this was only the beginning. Karen stood frozen, caramel foam dripping from her blouse, her hands trembling, not from shock but from rage. She darted her eyes across the cafe, searching for even one sympathetic face, someone who might rally to her side. Instead, she found smirks, whispers, and that same man by the window watching her with quiet disapproval. "This is harassment!" Karen snapped, her voice shaky but loud. "You're all laughing at me because I dared to speak up." The barista tried again, offering napkins. "Ma'am, please, let me help you clean this up." But Karen snatched the napkins and shook her head violently. "No, you've humiliated me enough. This is discrimination." The word hung in the air, heavy and uncomfortable. A teenager at the corner table muttered, "Here we go," loud enough for others to hear. A ripple of chuckles followed. The man at the window rose from his seat. He wasn't intimidating. Average build, mid-30s, wearing a simple button-down shirt. But there was authority in the way he stood. He walked over slowly, placing his half-empty mug on the counter. "Look," he said evenly, "nobody here wants to embarrass you, but you're not being discriminated against. You're not being harassed. You just had to wait for your coffee like the rest of us." Karen blinked rapidly, her voice cracking into a whine. "So now you're telling me how I should feel? You don't know what it's like to constantly be ignored, to be treated like you don't matter." The man didn't flinch. "I do know. I've lived through worse than a delayed latte. And here's the thing. Playing the victim when you're not doesn't just hurt you. It hurts the people, who are victims of real injustice." The cafe went silent again. Karen's face burned, her grip tightening on the soggy napkins. She wanted to fire back, to reclaim the spotlight, but the weight of dozens of eyes pressed down harder than any words. Then a little girl's voice broke through. From the table near the door, the child whispered to her mother, but loud enough for Karen to hear, "Mommy, why is that lady so mean?" It was like a pin dropping in a theater. Karen's breath hitched. She'd been called many things in her life, but mean, coming from a child, cut deeper than she expected. Her chest rose and fell quickly. She looked down at the mess staining her clothes, then up at the circle of strangers united not by cruelty, but by truth. For the first time, the script wasn't hers to control. Karen stormed out, heels clicking hard against the floor, leaving a trail of caramel droplets behind. But as the door closed, she didn't notice the man pulling out his phone. capturing everything on video. Karma, it seemed, was only getting started. The cafe returned to its hum, though the buzz of what just happened lingered. Conversations whispered, glances exchanged. Everyone had witnessed a scene they wouldn't soon forget. But outside, Karen fumbled with her keys, her hands trembling as she climbed into her car. She muttered under her breath, convincing herself. They were all against me. They twisted everything. I was the victim. But just as she tried to settle her thoughts, her phone buzzed. Notifications, rapid, one after another. Curious, she opened her social feed. Her stomach dropped. There it was, a video titled "Karen Throws Tantrum Over Coffee, Instant Karma." The man from the window had posted it. In less than an hour, it had already been shared dozens of times. Comments flooding in. Classic victim act. Doesn't work anymore. I was in that cafe. She made the barista cry. Can't believe people still pull this nonsense. Karen's face flushed. She gripped the wheel tightly, heart pounding. The video wasn't just capturing her spill. It caught every word, every exaggerated claim, every attempt to twist the story. No, 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 she whispered. They don't understand. They don't see what I was going through. But the comments weren't slowing down. Someone had even slowed the footage to highlight the exact moment the little girl whispered, "Why is that lady so mean?" The internet loved it. Karen pressed the ignition and drove aimlessly, her thoughts spinning. By the time she pulled into her driveway, the video had already hit thousands of views. Her phone rang, her friend Marcy. "Karen," Marcy blurted the second the call connected. "What did you do?" "You're all over the internet right now," Karen's voice cracked. "I didn't do anything wrong." They twisted it, like they always do. "I'm being targeted." Marcy sighed heavily. "Karen, I've known you for years, but you have to realize this keeps happening. Different places, different people, same story. Maybe it's not them." Karen's jaw clenched. "So you're taking their side?" "No," Marcy said gently. "I'm saying maybe this is your chance. People are seeing a version of you that maybe isn't fair, but also maybe isn't entirely wrong. You could fix this, Karen. You could apologize." Apologize. The word stung worse than the spilled latte. Karen had built her world around never being at fault, always playing the wounded party. To admit she was wrong felt impossible. Yet, as she sat in her driveway, notifications still buzzing, she realized something chilling. For once, no one was believing her story. Karma had flipped the script, and the world was watching. By the next morning, the video had exploded. Over 100,000 views, thousands of comments, and more shares than Karen could keep track of. She hadn't slept. Every ping from her phone was another reminder that the internet had decided she was guilty. Karen paced her living room, muttering, "This isn't fair. They don't know me. They don't know what I've been through." But when she finally dared to read through the comments in full, her heart sank deeper. They weren't just mocking her. They were dissecting her behavior. Strangers were analyzing her tone, her exaggerated gestures, even her history. Someone had linked to another video from months earlier. Karen arguing with a store clerk about expired coupons. Another clip surfaced of her berating a neighbor over a parking spot. Pattern recognized. Narrative built. And now, the internet wasn't just watching. It was connecting the dots. Her phone rang again. This time, it wasn't Marcy. It was her manager. "Karen." His voice was tight, clipped. "We need to talk. That video, people in the office have seen it. It's not good." Karen pressed the phone to her ear, her pulse racing. "It's not what it looks like. I was the one mistreated, but he cut her off. That's not what the public thinks. Clients are already asking questions. This could hurt the company." The words stung sharper than she expected. For once, her excuses weren't working. The consequences weren't whispers or rolled eyes. They were real, tangible, threatening her stability. Karen's throat went dry. "So what are you saying?" Her manager sighed. "I'm saying you need to fix this. Fast. Issue an apology. Make a statement, something. If not, we'll have to reconsider your position here." Karen hung up, her mind spiraling. She had always counted on her ability to twist stories in her favor, to gather sympathy. But now the sympathy had run dry. Even Marcy had gone silent, her last message unread. "Karen, please don't make this worse." Desperate, Karen sat at her desk, pulling up her laptop. She began typing a statement, fingers trembling. "To everyone who saw the video, I just want to say..." But the words froze on the screen. Every draft she wrote sounded hollow. Was it really an apology if she didn't believe she'd done wrong? She slammed the laptop shut, frustration boiling over. "Why should I apologize? They should be sorry for humiliating me." Yet even as she shouted, her voice cracked. Deep down she knew. Karma wasn't punishing her randomly. It was revealing the truth she had long refused to face. And soon, the world would force her to make a choice she had always avoided. For 2 days, Karen avoided the outside world. Curtains drawn, phone silenced. She tried to convince herself the storm would pass. But the storm wasn't fading, it was growing. The video had crossed 500,000 views, picked up by local news outlets. Headlines read, "Viral coffee shop. Confrontation raises questions." About entitlement culture. Karen's name wasn't in the headlines, but her face was everywhere. Neighbors began whispering. Her mailman looked at her differently. Even the cashier at the grocery store seemed hesitant when she approached. Then came the letter from her manager. Indefinite suspension, pending public image review. The job she'd leaned on for years had slipped through her fingers. She sat in her living room, staring at the paper, tears pricking her eyes. For once, she didn't feel angry. She felt empty. The knock on the door startled her. Opening it, she found the man from the cafe standing there, holding his phone in his hand. He looked calm, not smug, as though he'd come for something other than gloating. "You!" Karen hissed, instinctively clutching the doorframe. "I didn't come to fight," he said softly. "I came to give you a chance." He turned his phone so she could see. A live stream was running, thousands of viewers watching. "People are waiting to hear from you. Not me, you." Karen's stomach churned. "Why would I? They all hate me." "Not hate," he corrected. "Disappointed, but disappointment can change. You have a choice, double down or own up." She froze. For a long moment, silence filled the doorway. The Karen of yesterday would have lashed out, twisting the narrative, clutching at the victim role. But today, with her reputation in ruins, her job on hold, and the weight of the world watching, she realized something. Playing the victim had only made her powerless. Her voice cracked as she spoke into the camera. I've made mistakes. I let my temper control me. I hurt people who didn't deserve it. And instead of admitting it, I pretended I was the victim. That wasn't fair. To them, or to anyone who's actually struggled. I'm sorry. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't eloquent, but it was real. The comments flooded instantly. Finally, some accountability. Not sure if I forgive her yet, but respect. This is what growth looks like. Karen lowered the phone, tears streaking her cheeks. For the first time in years, she felt lighter, not because she'd won, but because she'd stopped fighting the truth. Karma hadn't destroyed her. It had stripped away the lies, leaving her with something raw, something honest, a chance to change. And for once, Karen didn't try to play the victim. She tried to be better. And just like Karen, sometimes life has a way of teaching us lessons we don't see coming. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps more people discover these stories. And if you want to see more jaw-dropping tales of instant karma, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think about Karen's transformation? Was her apology genuine or was it too little, too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Until next time, remember, karma is always watching.